Working through the catalog of samurai songs took me most of the night. Each song needed multiple playthroughs, just for the initial tracks, and then I had to add the hollow emitter setup, which now that I had done it once with my first song, did go easier. I just needed to add a few more movesets for drums and guitar, and then set up the keyboard and bass. June didn't come home that night, which was annoying. I still needed to get my shard back from him. But at least I was able to distract myself with rocking out. Rockaboy was gaining XP again. And in the middle of the night as I finished Never Fade Away, I got a new level up. Rockaboy 7. I hummed as the knowledge hit, and took it all in. That was nice addition, a bit more high-end musical stuff, and some adjustments I could do while singing to bring more emotion into the song. Of course, when I heard the door open in the morning, I was instantly on my feet and finger pointed at my idiot brother. Give it back. No, he responded as he walked, stretching and yawning. I like it. It suits me. No, it's my song. It's meant to suit me. I argued, and June looked at me, and just scoffed. Which is when I did the mature thing and yelled in fury and leapt on his head. And I do mean on his head. I nearly fell feet and hands first into his hair. How dare he? But my jump was stalled. His arms caught me mid-leap. Had June known what I was going to do, or were his reflexes that good? He didn't have a Sandy or Karen, right? My thoughts were interrupted as June flipped me around, and even with street brawler leveling I wasn't able to stop him from swinging me around a bit and bombed me onto the couch. Which creaked a little ominously but held. Then he sat on me. What have we learned? He teased, and I punched him a few times near his kidneys only for it to not really do much. Stupid subdermal. I guess nothing apparently. He added as he reached down and started poking me. Which only made me want to punch him more. I swear I'm going to chip in some gorilla arms so you can't just ignore my punches. That would just make you more like a gorilla than you already are. Sure you want to do that? He teased, and I could feel my face getting red in anger as I struggled for a bit under him. Stupid June and his fat, I yelled into his face. Go on a diet. June just blinked at me before smirking. He reached into his jacket pocket. No. Oh yes. He assured me as he took out an XXL burrito and started eating it. You're so disgusting. They're good. I don't get why you don't like them anymore. They aren't burritos. They are just sludge. June just shrugged. Tasty dough. I looked up at the kitchen to where the radio was. I would have my revenge. The radio started playing samurai music suddenly. June frowned and looked like he was considering standing up to turn it off, but just decided to ignore it. He turned on the TV to watch something, turning up the volume to drown out the song. Wrong move. I had complete control. The TV glitched. It started playing the song as well. Motoko. You will never know peace, I told him firmly. He sighed and tried the remote. Nope. Already hacked that. Motoko. No hacking the TV, June demanded using his authority voice. I gave him a deadpan stare. How about a truce? Get your fat ass off me. Fine. He grumbled, standing up as I could finally breathe normally again, and I clambered up to stand on the couch so we were about the same height. No, damn it, June was still taller. I put my hands on my hips and glared. Give me back my shard. Make me a copy. No. I already have the original. The reason I want the shard is so no one else can listen to it. Well, I mean they'll be able to once they watch the BD, I guess, but I mean... Fine, keep it. I will, he said, smiling, and patted me on the head. Gotta keep Miyamoto's first recording. It's special. Bwah. I flailed, pushing his hand away. No fair. Cheating. Hey. You should play a live gig, he said suddenly, smiling. Fujimura-sama was really impressed with the piano solo you did. No way. I argued instantly, returning to normal to cross my arms in an X. That's embarrassing. I don't want anyone to hear my songs. Except when they were the backing to an awesome XBD. PFFT. June just laughed at me, which didn't help. I've already shown your song to some of the others. The only thing they fear was a hit. They liked it. I gaped at June, who was smiling at me. No. You didn't. I did. Akari was really into it. She bugged me for a copy. I didn't give it to her though. She will probably come poke you for it. Be ready. No. I whined at him. I was blushing. Stupid Onii-chan. Making me get all self-conscious. You aren't allowed to show it to anyone. Give it back. Nope. What else you got? Any other songs? He asked, his face in a proud smile. Samurai songs. I immediately offered, turning his smile into a disgusted look. Never mind then. Let me know when you make something else. I won't. Ever. You shared it. It was preem. Cool. I liked it, made me want to go murder something. He offered and I nodded along. Yeah, that's true. That song did that to me too. That's what I felt. It's why the song is my theme song now. Motoko's theme. I called out, telling him why the song was important. Oni's theme sounds better. I gaped at him. Never. You can't just steal my theme. I made it myself. Well, you can't stop me, he said, reminding me he had my shard with a tap of his hand against his neck. Which was his mistake. It was reasonable enough. June still hadn't quite fitted my netrunning skill into his mind yet. My eyes blazed in code and half a second later his neuroport ejected the shard, sending it tumbling into the air. Hey. Lucy wasn't the only picksocket around. I leapt for the shard that had ejected, but June wasn't giving up without a fight. We ended up wrestling and tumbling around the couch for a while. In the end his stupid fat strength meant he kept the shard and I sulked at him in the corner as he very obviously played the song in his head. I can't believe you hit another scav den without me. Hiromi whined the exact second after almost kicking in the door and glaring at me from the entryway. Hiromi, don't kick doors that can break them. I reminded her, only to get a groan from her, as I guess I ruined her outrage. Why? I could have come. I wasn't going to call anyone. It was a BT gig more than anything, but June wouldn't let me go alone. So I ended up calling Ichi and Malcolm after to collect everything. But not me? It was a school night. I reminded her, earning a look of disgust from her. Stop using that as an excuse. She whined before flopping beside me on the couch, reaching out to grab me so I couldn't escape. I demand restitution. 1 million Motoko hours of service will just about cover this insult, she added in her most corpo voice. It had me giggling at her act, but I pulled myself together to give her my most deadpan reply. Sorry, no can do, but I'll pick up dinner, I retorted, and Hiromi giggled and seemed to relax. I'll take it. Hiromi dragged me to a more expensive sort of restaurant than I would normally go to, but considering how many eddies I had sliding into my bank account, I just shrugged and accepted what she wanted, and ate the overpriced food. It was making her happy. We were in a dark little booth with an electric candle lighting our table, and Hiromi was all smiles while she told me about her day at the academy. Seriously. They are so gonk. They think people will just listen to whatever they say without any care. I'm pretty sure the first time they try to hire a merc they are going to get shot. Hiromi added with a roll of her eyes, and I couldn't help but be amused at how well she had scored on her workplace reinforcement quiz. I think you just have way more experience than most of them in dealing with solos. Not that I really count. I don't think using me as an example is a good idea. Hiromi opened her mouth to retort but ended up closing it and bursting into giggles. Probably not. Oh. Now I have this image in my head. Motoko. You have to record the first time some corp tries to hire you, okay? I want to see the look on their face when they realize what they are dealing with. Okay, that does sound funny, but the way you say that makes it sound like I'm weird. I argued, pushing a piece of. Well, it was supposed to be shrimp, but it was just scop made to look and sort of taste like shrimp. Hiromi of course just smirked at me, until I looked away first. Meanie. I suddenly perked up as a text came in, the chime jolting in my ear. Judy, Jesus. Fuck. What the fuck was that? Before I could even message back, another came in. Judy, I'm glad you warned me, but still. Are you okay? Did you go cyber psycho on me or something? Don't make me call Rita. 1 second, Judy just saw my BD. I told Hiromi, who was looking curiously as my eyes were obviously gold as I looked through my texts. Before I could actually respond, Judy sent another message. Judy, Fuck it. I'm calling Rita anyways. Motoko, please don't. I'm fine. Not a psycho. Motoko, cyber or otherwise. It was just for the BD. I do have a thing about scavs after all. I'm actually at dinner with my chum right now. Eating and doing normal stuff. Nothing psycho going on, I'm okay. Don't tell Rita I'm a cyber psycho. Judy, fine. Fine. I'll chill. But seriously. You gave me a warning, but a bit more detail would have been nice. Fuck, my heart is pounding. A bit more brutal, my ass. I will never forget the feeling of sticking my thumbs in someone's eyeballs now thanks to you. Motoko, sorry. Judy, fuck, you better be. You sure you aren't a fucking cyberpsycho? No. You wouldn't be this normal, I guess? I don't know, I'd never dealt with a cyberpsycho before. Fine. Okay. Fine. As long as you aren't a psycho, I guess it's all good. Sides, I guess it's all good. Nox will be happy to hear about a new virtue. Well, as long as it isn't going to be evidence for Max Tack. Well, yet anyways. I'm gonna finish the BD, make it fucking sparkly preem. Just don't drop something like this on me again. Fuck, I do porn. I didn't sign up to learn what brain feels like. Motoko, double super sorry. Anything I can do to make up for it? Judy, hey, some replacement caffeine to start. I had to chug half my stash just to calm down after that overload. Motoko, Judy, I don't think caffeine is what you want if you are you know what. Never mind. Sure, I'll replace your stuff. Sorry. Judy, it's fine I guess. I'm just glad you read normal. But I'm expecting you to check in with Rita or something. Or just don't do something like that again. Anyway, I'll have it done ASAP. I kinda want to see some reactions to this one. I shook my head at Judy's reaction, taking a deep breath. At least Judy was okay with it. I mean, just because it was me at my most brutal overlaid with heavy metal that no one had ever heard before that literally ended with rip and tear. Surely no one could misconstrue that in the wrong light. Right? I may have gone a bit overboard on my last BD. I admitted to Hiromi, who only looked interested rather than concerned. Yep. This may have been a mistake. A fun mistake. But still a mistake. Dash. Apparently we were having a slumber party. Hiromi had followed me home after dinner. She flopped onto the couch as we entered besides June. Hiya June. Hiromi. Taking care of my gonk sister tonight? Yep. Motoko is all fed. I bought dinner. I grumbled at Hiromi, going along with June's teasing as I settled onto the armrest of the couch. June and Hiromi taking up the rest. Motoko. Play your song for me, Hiromi demanded, leaning back like a queen surveying her domain. No. My instant flat denial broke her facade, and the whining began. Motoko. I want to hear you play your new song. Judy got to hear it. She begged, leaning into me and being purposefully annoying. Judy is listening to a recording of it in a BD. It's not the same. I argued. I had explained after Judy's text what I had done at the scav den. And Hiromi, to my surprise, hadn't said anything about wanting to hear my song then. I guess she just wanted a private showing. I want to hear you play it too, June said, a smirk shot in my direction. Earning a happy smile from Hiromi as she met his eyes, and both of them looked at me. Don't even think about it. Motoko. Come on, Emoto. They started cheering for me. Like actual cheers. They were even getting louder, and I realized then if I didn't do something, they were going to keep getting louder until I did. Fucking gonks. I felt my face heating up but pushed it down with cool, which was a mistake. Because if I was controlling my emotions, I wasn't too embarrassed to actually play in front of people. I did have to test my music box after all. I glared at them both before walking around, grabbing my music box and pushing my personal link into it. I placed it onto the floor behind me as I grabbed my guitar. With a bit of finagling, I hooked the amp and speakers I had bought up to the music box, while ignoring the cheers of my chum and stupid brother. You both better appreciate this, I told them as I did a few tests to make sure the sound was coming out, and then walked around the apartment turning off most of the lights. Then I activated the song. The moment I started the first chords, behind me holograms began forming. On my right a drum set formed, and then I could hear June and Hiromi both gasp in surprise as a holographic me formed with it. The hologram unfortunately didn't do anything fancy like twirl a drumstick or something. I would actually need to get pictures of me doing that and spend a lot more time improving the routine, but it did have me behind the drums and hitting all the notes on a drum. To my left a double keyboard setup and a bunch of extra electrical equipment popped up, to represent me working on the more electronic sounds. And then, suddenly the drop hit, and drummer me went to town. Thankfully there wasn't any vocals through the song, so I could concentrate fully on just making sure the notes I was playing were right. The recorded version of the other instruments sounded fine, and I was actually doing it. I wasn't fumbling, my notes were hitting, and I even roared along with the chant at the end. Then it ended. Hiromi slammed into me once the song was obviously ended, literally leaping on top of me that I had to balance my best tune with not breaking my guitar as she clung onto me. That was so preem. She screamed and burst into laughter after. I was just desperately trying not to fall and break something. June thankfully came to my rescue, but not by lifting Hiromi off me. Instead he grabbed my guitar and pulled it free. "Thanks, jerk," I mouthed at him, and he just laughed at me. "Hiromi, come on." "No way. I know an actual rocker boy now," she yelled so excited. "You have to give me a super pass to all your shows forever," she demanded, and I just laughed and nodded. Because I was never going to do any shows. Silly Hiromi. Besides, even if I did do shows she would have a super pass anyways. What a gonk. "That was so amazing, Motoko. I can't believe you wrote your own song," Hiromi said, still holding on to me like a monkey. I winced, trying to explain that I hadn't written the song originally. Was difficult. I made an apology to the amazing Mick Gordon that I was taking credit for his work. Okay, time to climb off," I grumbled at her as I pushed her until she had to let go. But Hiromi's good cheer couldn't be ended so easily. "Motoko, we need to set up a show. We can sell tickets." Hiromi was going a little crazy. "No way. I'm not putting on any shows, Hiromi. This is just my thing. My relaxing thing," I tell her before realizing what I had just said. Right. This was my relaxing thing. Or supposed to be. Turning it into another murder thing. Fuck. Rita was gonna be so disappointed when she found out. This was supposed to be my zen thing. My hobby to pull me out of the routine murder I committed. With that realization I exhaled in annoyance at myself. I reached out, grabbing Hiromi by the shoulders and guided her back to the couch. "I'm glad you liked my song. Now never ever tell anyone about this. Especially you, June, you traitor. Harry is going to be so annoying now." "Hey. No. Motoko, you are so talented. You have to." Hiromi whined at me, but I ignored her. No way. That was embarrassing. In the end I ignored Hiromi's begging, and eventually June just laughed at the two of us as he turned the TV on. Although he did give me a head pat for doing so well. I ended up sitting on the floor with my back against the couch, Hiromi looming over me as she watched me work, as I worked on another song. It was the only thing I could do to get her to stop bugging me about singing more. Of course I had to take my laptop and hook it into the network to let Hiromi see the visual of me putting the song's tracks together. There were so many different songs I wanted to play, but since I had already started on the Doom soundtrack, I might as well continue with another of the songs I liked. BFG Division was hilariously relevant in Night City after all. June ended up waking Hiromi up in the morning. He had gone to bed eventually, and Hiromi had just curled up on the couch with her head halfway resting on my shoulder as I worked. During the quiet night I had added most of a few other songs together, although I still wanted to actually perform the guitar sections myself to finish them off. Something I couldn't do with Hiromi asleep. I had gained a few Rockaboy alerts as well as I worked on the songs. I guess creating digital music still counted as far as Rockaboy was concerned. "Morning, Motoko." "Morning, June," Hiromi muttered groggily as was woken up by June opening and closing the fridge, the noise all it took to bring her back to wakefulness. "Morning, Hiromi." I chirp as my tune blinks and gives me a smile in return as she starts stretching out and waking up. I put my stuff away, considering I had been working through the night. I wanted a break from tracks and notes for a while. "Breakfast?" I asked my chum and she blinked sleepily and nodded. Or, sleepy Hiromi was all quiet. Nox. It's nothing like you'll find anywhere else. It's not some shock jock or shit. This is an edge runner, doing a real gig. A professional. He commented, practically slapping his bag as he talked the guy into it. Yeah kid, I know. I heard about the boat heist. The man offered, rolling his eyes as he looked around. He wasn't the first customer Nox had that hadn't been super comfortable buying peddled BDs, X or otherwise, off the street from a street kid. But Nox had prime shit now. Motoko's BDs were unique enough that word of mouth got around. It wasn't every day someone could feel an actual professional at work. Nox was super thankful that Motoko had wanted to hide her body and shit from the BD. It let him sell to people that wouldn't buy a BD from a teenager's perspective normally. Well, I got one here for you. As well as the backlog of that edge runner's other works. Some are pretty low-key, but I assure you, once you finish you will know what it's like to be an edge runner. I've heard your push already kid. Just show me what you got. The older man demanded, and as Nox held out a copy of all the BDs he thought he could push on the older guy, eddies and shards traded hands, and the man disappeared, leaving Nox with an easy couple grand. He loved this shit. The boat heist had been on the news, so he could easily push for high-end XBD prices for it. And that led to people wanting more of Motoko. Money was flowing in, more money than he had ever expected. As always, he made a note in a program he kept on his agent of how much he made, and how much he would owe Motoko for her cut. It was small time honestly. Motoko barely even noticed when he sent her updates on how well everything was going. Judy, his only other person he had to pay, mostly just wanted him to bring her more caffeine. The eddies were just flowing in, and Nox was even considering hiring a guard just to make sure no more trouble happened. Ringing. Judy? He thought, hearing the call and checking the caller ID. Hey Jude, what's up? Fuck. He winced at the loud noise. He had an internal agent now. A very useful piece of chrome he had purchased with some of the profits, but it meant he couldn't lean away from the phone. The fuck Nox. Fuck. Jude? Uck. I can't believe I did this shit. Nox, you are so lucky you're a Mox. If you weren't, I would be kicking your ass right now. Motoko's last BD was fucking. Fuck. My heart literally won't stop fucking pounding, and I can't get the feeling of literally. Fuck. At least she warned me first. But I need bigger warnings than this. Hey Jude. Calm down, what's going on? Uck. Motoko dropped a new BD on my desk. And at that, Nox was cheering, literally jumping in the air and whooping audibly as he rushed to pack his shit. New content. Fuck, he was gonna make more eddies. Running into that beautiful girl was the best thing that ever happened to him in his entire life. I'm on my way. Did you finish it? Yeah, I fucking finished it, Nox. I vow sorry. Judy went quiet for a minute. I'm still dealing with the aftershocks of the virtue. I still feel angry. Just come by, and bring me a few cans. I'm out thanks to editing this bitch. On my way, Jude. On my way. She hung up and Nox was whooping as he ran down the street. He was going to jump in his crappy car that he had bought with the eddies and run it all the way to Lizzie's. Everything was going perfect today. Dash. Rip and tear. Until it's done. His mouth formed the words even as he was gasping for air. His head still hurt, and his ribs ached, but everything else just felt like fire and hate as he glared down at the last scav. At the last monster he had ripped apart. The transition was sudden, like the BD cut off in a weird spot, and suddenly Nox was Nox. He wasn't a murder machine glaring down at the corpses of the fucking scavs. No, he was laying on his back with Judy looking over him. Fuck. He whimpered, despite the pain being gone. The rage and anger and hatred, but it left his nerves feeling raw as he rolled off the chair and nearly face-planted. He was gasping for air, he realized, and he wondered for a moment if he was going to be sick. Yeah. I may need to tone that down a bit. Judy offered. He had shown up and she had been twitchy and quick to anger, and now he knew why. He felt the same way, but there was also. He rolled over and just laid on his back, sucking in air and letting the cool floor of Judy's workshop cool him down. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Judy replied and even handed him a soda as she stood over him. You all right? Just processing. I wasn't. Is Motoko okay? I called her. I could only stay in the Virtue for like a minute before I pulled out at first. I called her then. She sounded normal. Apologized and stuff. Still not sure if she is actually. Yeah. Fuck. Nox had felt the cool calculated control Motoko exuded probably more than anybody. He sold the damn BDs after all. He watched them often enough to make sure he could explain them to buyers. He knew that Motoko was a killer. Absolutely unhesitatingly murderous when she wanted. The facade of her chipper happiness disappeared when it was time for her to kill. But now he wasn't sure what the real Motoko was. Was it the nice teenager that would help out a boy getting beaten? The cold calculating solo? Or the monster of rage and hate hidden within? So yeah, that's a thing. Judy offered as she took a long sip of her drink. I'm thinking of sicking Rita on her. Yeah, I'll never get the feeling of brains out of my nails. She told him, and Nox had to agree. He had seen a lot of XPDs. That was definitely the first time someone had stuck a thumb through someone's eye. It was fucking preem though. It was the most uncomfortable Virtue I have ever edited. She retorted instantly. Preem work. Judy just laughed as he ignored her complaints. She wasn't really mad. Judy might pretend all she wanted, but she loved BDs and XPDs as much as anyone. Hell, he still slipped her some of the shit coming out from the big names so she could rip it apart and see what they had done. Improve her own craft. She's a connoisseur. And he had caught her a few times just enjoying a BD here or there. Fuck. I'm gonna sell that BD, he muttered, realizing what he had on his hands. Not until after I tone it down a bit. Don't. Leave it. He decided. He would explain that it was more than normal. It was better this way. No one would forget the BD. The only thing they fear is you. Nox had come up with the names of all the BDs Motoko had dropped off until now. But fuck, if she had come up with the best name possible for this BD. Anyone who scrolled this BD was going to feel like it was the damned truth. My agent ringing in my head woke me up in the middle of my nap. Blag? I asked aloud as I blinked my eyes and sat up. I had spent the entire previous day playing with Hiromi, traveling the city shopping for clothes and just hanging out with my chum. Then I spent some of the night doing some debugging work that Yoko had set up for me. Getting through some of the backlog of service requests that were piling up in my inbox. But now it was early late. And I was actually muggy. Not something I usually deal with. Realizing I hadn't actually spoken into my agent, I shook myself and did it again. Hello? Manita, it's Jackie. Sorry about calling you so late, little chum, but I have a problem, and I need a netrunner. I already tried Bug, but she cussed me out. Can you help? Jackie blurted out, and instantly I could tell he was stressed. Talking too fast, and almost stumbling over his words. I blinked as I tried to process the question before grunting a bit as I rose up. Yeah, Jack, I can help. What's the deets? I got a computer system here that has information I need, but I can't get in. I'll send you the address? Sure, I'll be on my way. Thanks, Manita. I rose to hurry and get dressed. Noting that June was sleeping in his bed, so I went stealthy so I wouldn't disturb him. Slipping out of the apartment, I rushed down the stairs using the movement to get my blood pumping to help wake me up. I hated being groggy, but I wasn't going to blame Jackie. He had called me. I raced across the street to the parking garage. Jackie actually relied on me. I was inordinately happy about the fact. I checked the address and set it to my GPS and started driving, actually going a little faster than normal through the city. The address took me to an old warehouse in Santo Domingo. I pulled up to the open gate and frowned. Multiple vehicles were inside, and I could see dead bodies lying on the ground. Not just that. Some of the bodies were wearing armor. Orange armor. Kang Tao? What were Kang Tao gonks doing here? What was Jackie getting himself into? I parked and turned off the engine. Time to move. The chain link fence protected a dirty lot, covered in old garbage including a fire pit and some old ratty chairs. Obviously the abandoned lot had been taken over. Now the question was, what was going on? I slipped through the gate, staying in cover from the sight lines of the entrance to the warehouse that had its bay door open as I came up on the first normal body. Tino? I checked the markings and it was the same sort of tats and markings a Tino might use, but it wasn't quite right. The body was wearing a bandana around the neck with a weird symbol on it. Offshoot street gang? Maybe just a few Tino kids forming their own gang to fuck around? But why the murder? Kang Tao being involved was a bit much for what I would expect from a street gang. I looked over the wounds and frowned. Big rounds. 5 rounds center mass. Someone took this kid out brutally. Kang Tao hadn't been interested in talking. Buoyant now firmly in my hand, because this was sketchy. I rushed up to the warehouse's entrance, peeking in. It was empty except for a Kang Tao van parked in the back. But there was a light on in the back office. I glanced around, then did it again to confirm the lack of any cameras. The darkness of the warehouse no barrier to my optics. I rushed in, using the weight-bearing struts to stay in cover as I raced to the back. The van was empty front and back, the back door was even open. Slowly I crept up to the office window to peek in, and relaxed, almost sighing in relief. I quickly called Jackie after confirming he was just sitting in a chair waiting. "Manita, you here?" he asked as soon as the call connected as I watched him physically rise up from his chair. "Yeah, just outside the office you were parked in. I'm coming in. Didn't want to startle you," I added, gave him a second before I opened the door and walked in. "Phew, you're sneaky as always," Jackie said, chuckling as he sat back down. "Fuck Jackie. You're hurt," I snapped, rushing in as I noticed the blood rolling down his shoulder. "Just a flesh wound, Manita. I'll be fine," he said, trying to calm me, but the way his left arm was hitching meant that was a lie. I almost went off on him when I noticed it. The dead Kang Tao body in the corner. "Jackie? What's going on?" "One of the fuckers that killed the kids outside. They were just gone kids. Didn't deserve this shit," Jackie hissed, the big man usually easygoing honestly furious as he walked over and kicked the body. "He was already very dead, Jackie. What were Kang Tao doing here?" "The kids. The red piratas, red pirates. Just a small group of kids fucking around, clapping shit they shouldn't have. Danny. He lives near me, I've boxed with him a little, just taught him how to punch. Kid doesn't have a papa." Jackie was quiet for a moment before shaking his head. "He gone?" "Yeah. I saw him outside. He's the one who called me for help. The piratas clapped a vehicle only to find out its owner was Kang Tao. It was a corpus car, there was something in the trunk. Danny realized how hot it was, but couldn't just dump it. They had taken the car on a joyride. Everyone knew who had clapped the ride," Jackie sighed, rubbing his face tiredly. "So Kang Tao came to get it back. Without mercy," I added, and Jackie nodded. "I need to find out where they are, Manita. Can't let this one stand. Not even the Corps can just walk into Tino territory and flatline our boys. Even Padre agrees. This is too far. So I called in some backup, but I'm stuck at step 1, he said, pointing with his good arm, and I figured it out. There was a Kang Tao armored case that had a laptop inside sitting on the office desk. Blood along one side of it told me how Jackie had gotten it. It was on, but obviously needed a password as it was stuck on the login page. "Okay, I'm putting things together," I said as I walked over to the laptop. "Knew you were the right call. Fast on your feet." He complimented me. I just snorted in amusement as I checked the laptop. I wasn't even his first pick. Don't think I had missed that he called T-Bug first. Then I frowned. Dangerous. This is gonna take a bit. The security on this thing is dangerous. "Okay, Manita. Just as fast as you can. I need to find out where they ran. Can't send Danny on without the men who killed him following behind." Jackie grunted in anger as he glared around the small office. In the quiet of the office as Jackie brooded, I was working my way into the laptop. No way I was sticking my personal link into a port on this thing. Just looking at it I could see the massive module on its side. Basically it was a black ice port. You stick your link in without the right codes, it tries to fry your brain. Probably melts the laptop hard drive along with it. So instead I was relying on Ghost Touch. A few key presses caused the OS to enter a diagnostic mode. Then I basically started poking the system using wireless connections. Sending connection requests that would be denied, but the laptop would still need to accept a few bytes of code to verify if it was an allowed connection. Over and over, I sent tiny bits of data through, that would all be stored in the same processing node to verify if it was a legit connection. The laptop normally would have dumped the data after dismissing the connection, but if I sent the data over a slow enough bandwidth causing the computer to assume it was a connection error, so it would save the data as it constantly tried to gather enough information to accept or deny, the data would be saved. And slowly a virus was put together that would add in access information. Monitor? Gonna take a bit, Jackie. Don't rush me. I'm going as fast as I can, I mumbled, never tearing my eyes from the laptop as my vision was filled with data. I was literally writing a virus in real time as I sent bytes of it into a new system. A virus that would then need to put itself together after. I heard it then, as I was going, an engine rumbling into the lot. An overtuned absolute monster of an engine. Also I recognized that noise. A Kusanagi? Jackie? If I need to move away from this I'll lose progress. No worries, Amanita, I said. I called in some backup, yeah? The fucking cavalry is here, Jackie said with a laugh as he stepped out of the office behind me, but I was focusing on getting into this system. Stupid Kangtao security. A new voice called out behind me. Who's the kid? A woman's voice behind me asked, and Jackie responded a moment later. Motoko. Good kid, she's a netrunner. And a solo. She's hacking into the Kangtao system to find out where they ran off to. Fuck, Jackie. You got some street kid to try and break into Corp second? You might as well just put a bullet in her head now. Or not, I guess. The fucking kid isn't even plugged. How is she supposed to breach? I ignored the woman, even if I really wanted to turn around and give her a piece of my mind, but there was only one way to really shut someone up. Do something they already dismissed you from being capable of. The virus was coming together. I was sending the data that was basically restructuring the data in the laptop's node that would activate once it was complete. Hey, easy Mana. Motoko isn't some scop kid. I've done gigs with her. I told you I started working with a solo for Waikako's gigs, yeah? Well, that's her. 14? Fuck me. Seriously, a little TC brat? She suddenly said, and I realized she must have scanned me. Pulling up my data. Like you have much room to talk there, Mana. Jackie suddenly teased, and since there was an almost echoing silence I could tell Jackie was getting glared at. Jack, you know I got your back if you need it, and hell, going after Kangtao for that piece of tech you said the kids found is something I'm all for. But it looks like they've already cleared off. I'll help cause some trouble for you, but I can't storm a Kangtao office. I know, Choom. Just give Motoko a bit, she'll find out where those fuckers went and we will track them right down. The woman's scoff only told me what she really thought of that. I'm in, I said suddenly as I stood up and stretched. Fuck, that took forever. What? I turned around to face Jackie and his Choom, only to blink. I knew that face. I fucking knew that face. I went cold, to keep myself from wanting to immediately spaz out. V. That was female V standing in front of me in a corpo suit was definitely female V. The red hair, the shaved left side. Even the EMP threading was the same, going from her cheeks up over her eyes. You're still on the login screen. How is that in? She demanded, instantly harsh and criticizing. Wow, she was a total bitch. Was it weird that I always loved that about her while playing the game? I smiled. Username, you suck, all caps. Password, uppercase D. I took a step away and waved at the laptop, earning a surprised look before she walked over and typed away. The Kangtao login screen gave way to the actual desktop. Fuck me, V whispered as she quickly hit an icon on the desktop and a bunch of future Excel sheets popped up. Oh, I'm taking this. Pulled a shard out of her socket and went to plug it in. Hold up, I demanded, stopping her from putting it in. What? She demanded, a glare and a twitch of her hands that told me she had stopped herself from striking out at me. Hair trigger much? You put that in, and they will notice. Right now the access isn't being deleted because it's not doing anything. Find out where the stuff we need is first. To my surprise, the woman continued to glare at me, as if she was deciding whether to listen or not. Come on, V Padre gave me a gig to hunt these pendejos down. Gig first, yeah? Jackie backed me up, and smiling at the woman in that way of his. Fine. She grunted and instead started typing away as she pulled up a program that after a few moments of watching her navigate made me realize it was dispatch information. Who went where? It was limited to this group though, which was actually good security. I got them. They are at a drop site that Kang Tao like to use. Whatever it is they found, Kang Tao want to get it out of the city. We aren't too late, but we have to move. She looked over her shoulder to Jackie, her red hair hanging over just one side of her head blocking her face from my sight before Jackie nodded, throwing her a thumbs up, earning a scoff, but only then did she plug the shard she had into the laptop. It began trying to download anything and everything it could. Alright, while this downloads, Jackie, go grab the Kang Tao van, we can use it to get close without them realizing their tunes are zeroed, V demanded, even snapping a finger at Jackie to get him to move. I am Anna, I'll get a ride. And find a medkit before you bleed out, you dumb fuck gonk, she yelled suddenly, and I could hear Jackie chuckling a little. They were so cute. If I didn't already know they weren't into each other like that, I would absolutely ship them. Alright kid, time to clear off, V said, suddenly reminding me she was also a turbo bitch. What, you don't want a netrunner backup? Don't know you. Don't need you, she said instantly. Clear off. I thought about it. Considered arguing, but in the end I turned and walked out with a smirk on my face. I don't remember agreeing to work for her either. Jackie was my chum, so it wasn't like I was just going to let him head into this kind of shit without some backup. Walking through the warehouse and then out into the dirt lot, a splash of color caught my eye. Yeah. That could work.